All right, welcome back. So this week we're talking all about the best places to walk your reactive dog. Of course, it's getting nice out. Spring is here. Summer's right around the corner. And, if you have a reactive dog, you may want to just go ahead and, walk them, but you may be a little bit nervous. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the best places to walk your dog so you can be happy, your dog can be happy, and you guys can have the best summer ever. All right. So, first up, when we talk about walking a reactive dog, we want to think about giving them a lot of space. So, space meaning, if they're reactive towards other dogs or people, going out at times where there's not as many people around or places where there's a lot of space. So, one place you may want to walk your dog is in a quiet residential street area. Those are great options for reactive dogs. So places where there's low traffic areas where there's less noises, so you can help your dog maintain a calm demeanor. When I train with reactive dogs and I start to talk to families, one thing I do talk about when you take your dog out for walks and you're in your neighborhood is going out at the time of day where you're less likely to see other dogs and people, so that your dog's not practicing the behavior over and over again. Because one thing about dogs is the longer they practice a behavior, the harder is going to be to change. So just be sure you know your neighborhood, you know the time of day where there's people and dogs less likely to be out, and you definitely want to take your dogs out during that time to practice. Another great place to practice with your dog, to walk your dog as well, is if you live on a countryside or area where there's not a lot of nature, where there is plenty of space for your dog to move around and play. It's also a great place for is anxiety reducing, and it will keep your dog relaxed. So if you live somewhere where there's a big spatial area, you live on a countryside or things like that, that's always a really, really good place to walk your dog as well. And if you do live on a countryside as well, I always talk about using a long line, especially if there's not going to be other dogs near, so your dog can really have a chance to explore. Because a lot of times when we have reactive dogs, they don't get a chance to just be off leash or be on a longer leash because they are reactive. But if you're going to be in a place like a countryside or things like that, and there's no other people around, try using a longer line or a longer leash. Your dog does get a chance to explore. Another place you can walk your reactive dog, if your dog loves water, beaches are a great opportunity or spot to walk your dog. Sometimes just the sound of waves and open space can help calm a reactive dog or even an anxious dog if they're nervous. With the beach, just caution, because the beach, you can walk for miles and miles and miles, and I know a lot of people do walk with their dogs off leash on the beach. So I would just caution taking reactive dogs to the beach with saying, maybe use a long line just to ensure that a person just doesn't pop up along the way or another dog doesn't pop up along the way. But ideally, beaches are a great place to walk your dog if they're reactive. The next one, going back to like the countrysides, but another good option is forests or wooded areas can be an excellent opportunity for you and your dog to bond. That's absolutely my all-time favorite for walking dogs and actually training too. Nature is free. They're free from other distractions of like the city, the cars driving by and things like that. They're just, with you, they're with the nature. They can walk, they can explore. And I like it because they can sniff. And if you don't know, sniffing is very exhausting for your dog. So if your dog's able to sniff on those trails, then ideally that's going to be great. And you're less likely to run into a lot of dogs or people. But again, I do know that other people do like to walk their dogs on trails. So make sure you do have your dog on leash. You can use a longer line too. Just make sure you know when to kind of rope them back in and stuff like that. But that's always an excellent opportunity. If you do know an area where there's a trail or area where there's people less likely to be, I would definitely start off there. The last place is just, quiet outdoor areas such as parks or, parks or paths around your neighborhood can be a good choice because it's less crowded, less stimulation. So I know down the street from my house, I kind of found it by mistake. There's a parking lot, but if you just keep walking in back of it, there's just like a little cute little trail that I love walking my little dog on. It's just you go down to one end and back to the other, but there's no one really over there, and they have like a little sitting area. So a lot of people just go in that area and eat lunch. And I also like it too because although it's a trail, if you're working with your dogs around distractions or reactive dog, they do have cars that pass by, but it's way off in a distance. So again, when we talk about creating distance with reactive dogs, that's also option two, just to have the distractions and the noises further away, even if you're on a trail or on the beach or whatever it may be. So those are the ideal places you want to walk your reactive dog. Just if you're thinking in your head like, wow, I know tons of places, just keep in mind you always want to choose a place where there is a lot of open space, a lot of open area. For one, that's going to be the main one. And then also you want to choose a space where there's going to be less distractions as well. So your dog's not being as triggered by other dogs or people or whatever they're reactive to. I'm saying dogs and people because usually that's like the number one and two things that dogs are reactive towards. So just to quickly wrap on those places again, first up, you just want to walk them in a quiet residential area. Usually that means around your neighborhood, but you just want to be sure that you're walking them at a time where dogs and other people or whatever they're reactive to are less likely to be out. If your dog loves water, you want to walk. Beaches are also a great place to walk your dog. Next up, the wooded areas, again, are an excellent opportunity. And also, it's like very common too, at least for me, just to be in the woods and just walking and getting time to think away from distractions as well. So that's a great place for dogs and yourself. And last but not least, outdoor areas such as parks and paths around your neighborhood or whatever area you want to go to. But just remember, wrapping this up, always prioritize your reactive dog's safety and comfort when you're choosing a location to walk them. So even if that means, putting on your dog's a muzzle, if they do need that for safety, or just, keeping in mind like the times of day you're walking your dog. But other than that, I hope you gain some good tips and great places to walk your reactive dog. If you would like more tips and stuff like that, feel free to listen on podcasts on all those platforms, Spotify, Stitcher, at Positive Dog Training Convos. If you have questions, if you've been following me, I'm pretty good. If you just pop them into the comments about answering them. But other than that, I hope you enjoy your week. Have a great weekend. I heard over here on the East Coast it's supposed to be beautiful out, and I hope it's beautiful where you are. And I will see you next week. Bye.